Was it Amit Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
But Prabhu, I don't remember actually.
You can, Prabhu, you can keep the phone beside you, and then you can, like, seeing it, you can chant.
Or should I like? Yeah, I can open it and
There is it,
then I
Prabhu.
can sing. Okay.
You must start with Om Namo
Om.
Bhagavate.
Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitan Tam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghuna Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhans Vidamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नमो विष्णुपादाय विष्णु नमो विष्णुपादाय सॉरी नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
Haribo, thank you so much.
Haribo.
Okay, so now we go to the preface.
Preface.
Oh no, of course we chant few
Why
prayers.
not the introduction, Prabhu?
What, Prabhu? Introduction is after.
I'm just starting with. Oh, preface. Okay.
Yeah, preface and then introduction.
Oh, what is this? 1 second. Okay, we read this first. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet shrinvatam svakata krishna punyashravana kirtana hridyandastoya bhadrani vidunuti suhritsatam nasta prayasvabdreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. And since it's,
Haribo.
we read the translation also. Or always we read it, but now especially. Before
Prabhu,
reciting,
can I disturb you? Okay,
yes,
you can start. You can continue. You can continue. I'll ask after.
okay, before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God and Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shri Vyasadeva, the author. Bhagavatam 1-4. Sri Krishna, the person of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Bhagavatam 1-17. By regular attendance in classes of the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised with the transcendental songs, is established as irrevocable fact. Bhagavatam 1-18.
Haribo. Prabhu, where do you get this page, Prabhu? I want this because I only know one verse here.
Yeah. My brother said that we should read this actually always before reciting.
Before Bhagavatam classes or any reading, we should read this.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Usually I have the first paragraph, Prabhu. I did not know that there were
Mm.
3.
Mm.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, that's all.
I'll start, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, what was that? Where did it go? There was like some verse like this. There is no translation or anything in this. What is this?
Yeah, it is directly in the Sanskrit verse. कृष्णे स्व धाम उपगते धर्म ज्ञान दिविः सह कलौ नास्त दृश्यमेष पुरनार्को धुनोदिताः.
What it means?
No
Google
idea.
search.
So even when I first saw, I didn't understand what it is.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I think in my Bhagavatam, I'm not sure if it was there, this page.
Means in the original it is there. So yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
It must be there, Prabhu. Because
have
I
the
also have it in the Bhagavatam.
My spiritual master on the 26th annual ceremony of his disappearance day.
So Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So yeah. It is derivated to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. He lives forever by his divine instructions and the follower lives with him. Yeah. ISKCON doesn't understand this.
So the living guru system.
Yeah.
Yeah, ISKCON, they don't understand it.
Yes, Prabhu, it's the first
it is
thing.
written in the Bhagavatam. Yeah, it is in the first page and still they don't understand it.
That's really interesting.
Prabhu, let's start. I'm eager to read.
Okay, Haribol, here's the preface.
Haribo, preface. We must know the present need of human society and what is that need. Human society is no longer bounded by geographical limits to particular countries or communities. Human society is broader than in the Middle Ages, and the world tendency is towards one state or one human society. The ideals of spiritual communism, according to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, are based more or less on the oneness of the entire human society. Nay, on the entire energy of living beings. The need is felt by great thinkers to make this a successful ideology. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam will fill this need in human society. It begins, therefore, with the aphorism of Vedanta philosophy, Janmadi Asya Yataha, to establish the ideal of a common cause. Human society at the present moment is not in the darkness of oblivion. It has made rapid progress in the field of material comfort, education, and economic development throughout the entire world. But there is a pink rick somewhere in the social body at large, and therefore there are large-scale quarrels even over less important issues. There is need of clue as to how humanity can become one in peace, friendship, and prosperity with a common cause. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam will fill this need, for it is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be introduced also in the schools and colleges, for it is recommended by the great student devotee Prahlad Maharaj in order to change the demoniac face of society. Kaumara acharate pragyo dharman bhagavatan iha durlabam manusham janmatad api adurvam artadam Bhagavatam 761. Disparity in human society is due to lack of principles in a godless civilization. There is God, or the Almighty One, from whom everything emanates, by whom everything is maintained, and in whom everything is merged to rest. Material science has tried to find the ultimate source of creation very insufficiently, but it is a fact that there is one ultimate source of everything that be. This ultimate source is explained rationally and authoritatively in the beautiful Bhagavatam or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the transcendental science not only for knowing the ultimate source of everything, but also for knowing our relation with Him and our duty towards perfection of human society on the basis of this perfect knowledge. It is powerful reading matter in the Sanskrit language, and it is now rendered into English elaborately so that simply by a careful reading one will know God perfectly well, so much so that the reader will be sufficiently educated to defend himself from the onslaught of atheists. Over and above this, the reader will be able to convert others to accept God as a concrete principle. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins with the definition of the ultimate source. It is a bona fide commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the same author, Srila Vyasadeva, and gradually it develops into 9 cantos up to the highest state of God realization. The only qualification one needs to study this book, great book of transcendental knowledge, is to proceed step by step cautiously and not jump forward haphazardly like with an ordinary book. It should be good. It should be gone through chapter by chapter, one after another. The reading matter is so arranged with its original Sanskrit text, its English transliteration, synonyms, translation, and purports, so that one is sure to become a God-realized soul at the end of finishing the first 9 cantos. The 10th canto is distinct from the first 9 cantos because it deals directly with the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. One will be unable to capture the effects of the 10th canto without going through the first 9 cantos. The book is complete in 12 cantos, each independent, but it is good for all to read them in small installments, one after another. I must admit my fragilities in presenting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, but still I am hopeful of its good reception by the thinkers and leaders of society on the strength of the following statement of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Sami Prabhu, can you do the honors? These are long, hey? Long words of Sanskrit.
Tadvag visargo janata viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadravadyapi naman yanantasya yashon kitani yach shrinvanti gayanti krinanti sadava. Bhagavatam 1.5.11.
Nice chanting, Prabhu. On the other hand, that literature which is full with descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, and the pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a transcendental creation meant to bring about a revolution in the impious life of a misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though irregularly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Om Tat Sat. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Dated at Delhi, December 15, 1962. I was not even a thought, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, this is really in the beginning.
Introduction. Can you please, yeah. Zoom in, yes. No, zoom in.
Lord Chaitanya.
Yes, Prabhu.
Very long.
Yeah,
Very long.
I think it's 50 pages, Prabhu.
Yes,
Close to
Prabhu.
50 pages.
After
40
that,
something.
chapter one starts. Okay. Question Madi says.
2 sessions we will read the introduction.
Sorry, Prabhu?
I think it will take 2 sessions to read the introduction.
Yes, Prabhu, I think yes.
Oh,
2
yes.
sessions.
Introduction. The conception of God and the conception of absolute truth are not on the same level. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam hits on the target of the absolute truth. The conception of God indicates the controller, whereas the conception of the absolute truth indicates the Samam Bonam, or the ultimate source of all energies. There is no difference of opinion about the personal features of God as the controller because a controller cannot be impersonal. Of course, modern government, especially democratic government, is impersonal to some extent, but ultimately the chief executive head is a person and the impersonal feature of government is subordinate to the personal feature. So without a doubt, whenever we refer to control over others, we must admit the existence of personal feature, because there are different controllers for different managerial position. There may be many small gods. According to the Bhagavad Gita, any controller who has some specific extraordinary power is called a vibhuti, mat sattva, or controller empowered by the Lord. There are many vibhuti, mat sattvas, controllers or gods with various specific powers, but the absolute truth is one without a second. This Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam designates the absolute truth of the Samam Bonam as the Param Satyam. The author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Srila Vyasadeva, first offers his respectful obeisances unto the Param Satyam, absolute truth, and because the Param Satyam is the ultimate source of all energies, the Param Satyam is the supreme person. The gods or the controllers are undoubtedly persons, but the Param Satyam, from whom the gods derive powers of control, is the supreme person. The Sanskrit words Ishvara, controller, conveys the import of God, but the supreme person is called the Param Ishvara, or the supreme Ishvara. The supreme person, or Parameshvara, is the supreme conscious personality, and because he does not derive any power from any other source, he is supremely independent. In the Vedic literatures, Brahma is described as the supreme god or the head of all other gods, like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, etc. But the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam confirms that even Brahma is not independent as far as his power and knowledge are concerned. He received knowledge in the form of the Vedas from the supreme person who resides within the heart of every living being. That supreme personality knows everything directly and indirectly. Individual, infinitesimal. How do you pronounce that? Infinitesimals. How do you pronounce it, Semi Prabhu?
Infinitesimal.
Infinitesimal. Okay, thought it was testimal. Persons who are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality may know directly and indirectly everything about their bodies or external features. But the Supreme Personality knows everything about both his external and internal features. The word Janmadi Ashya suggests that the source of all production, maintenance, or destruction is the same supreme conscious person. Even in our present experiences, we can know that nothing is generated from inert matter, but inert matter can be generated from the living entity. For instance, by contact with the living entity, the material body develops into a working machine. Men with a poor fund of knowledge mistake the bodily machinery to be the living being. But the fact is that the living being is the basis of the bodily machine. The bodily machine is useless as soon as the living spark is away from it. That is the soul, with the spark.
Yes,
Similarly, the original source of all material energies is the Supreme Person. This fact is expressed in all the Vedic literatures, and all the exponents of spiritual science have accepted this truth. The living force is called Brahman, and one of the greatest acharyas. Yeah, Prabhu, I wanted to know, like, Brahman, is it like the all in all? Like, because I understand what Brahma is, it's different. And then Brahman. What could you say in short, Prabhu, Brahman is?
Yes, Prabhu, it's the living
Or will
force.
they explain?
Yeah, like the soul.
Like, okay, Prabhu. And one of the greatest acharyas, teachers, namely Sripada Sankaracharya, has preached that Brahman is substance, whereas the cosmic world is category. The original source of all energies is the living force, and he is logically accepted as the supreme person. He is therefore conscious of everything, past, present, and future, and also of each and every corner of his manifestations, both material and spiritual. An imperfect living being does not even know what is happening within his own personal body. He eats his food but does not know how this food is transformed into energy. Or how it sustains his body. When a living being is perfect, he is aware of everything that happens. And since the Supreme Person is all perfect, it is quite natural that he knows everything in all detail. Consequently, the perfect personality is addressed in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as Vasudeva, or one who lives everywhere in full consciousness and in full possession of his complete energy. All of this is clearly explained in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and the reader has ample opportunity to study this critically. In the modern age, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by practical demonstration. It is easy to penetrate into the topics of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam through the medium of Sri Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya's causeless mercy. Therefore, a short sketch of his life and precept is inserted here to help the reader understand the real merit of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It is imperative that one learn the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the present Bhāgavatam. The present Bhāgavatam is one whose very life is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in practice. Since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the absolute personality of Godhead, he is both Bhagavan and Bhagavatam in person and in sound. Therefore, his process of approaching the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is practical for all the people of the world. It was his wish that the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam be preached in every nook and corner of the world by those who happen to take their breath in India. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the science of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, of whom we have preliminary information from the text of the Bhagavad Gita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that anyone, regardless of what he is, who is well versed in the science of Krishna, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita, can become an authorized preacher or preceptor in the science of Krishna. There is a need for the science of Krishna in human society for the good of all suffering humanity of the world, and we simply request the leaders of all nations to pick up the science of Krishna for their own good, for the good of society and for the good of all the world's people. A short sketch of the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the preacher of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great apostle of love of God and the father of the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, advented himself as Sridhama Mayapura, a quarter in the city of Navadip in Bengal, on the Flaguni Prabhu Purnima evening in the year 1407 Sakabda, corresponding to February 1486 by the Christian calendar. His father, Sri Jagannatha Msira, a learned Brahmana from the district of Sialhelt. How do you pronounce it, Prabhu? Sialhelt. On the left, yes, top, Sialhelt.
Maybe Neil Prabhu can say, because this is maybe
it's not there, but then we'll check it, Prabhu.
yes,
Sialhelt came to Navadip as a student because at that time Navadip was considered to be the center of education and culture. He domiciliated on the banks of the Ganges after marrying Srimati Sachi Devi, a daughter of Srila Nilambara Chakravarti, the great learned scholars of Navadip. Jagannath Msira had a number of daughters by his wife, Srimati Sachi Devi, and most of them expired at an early age. Two surviving sons, Sri Vishvarupa and Vishvambara, became at last the object of their paternal affection. The 10th and youngest son, who was named Vishvambara, later became known as Nimai Pandit. And then, after accepting the renounced order of life, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the renounced order of life, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his transcendental activities for 48 years, and then disappeared in the year 1455, Sakabda, at Puri. For his first 24 years, he remained at Navadip as a student and householder. His first wife was Śrīmad Lakshmi Priya, who died at an early age when the Lord was away from home. When he returned from East Bengal, he was requested by his mother to accept a second wife, and he agreed. His second wife was Srimati Vishnu Priya Devi, who bore the separation of the Lord throughout her life because the Lord took the order of sannyas. At the age of 24, when Srimad Vishnu Priya was barely 16 years old. After taking sannyasi, the Lord made his headquarters at Jagannath Puri due to the request of his mother, Srimad Sachi Devi. The Lord remained for 24 years at Puri. For 6 years of this time, he traveled continuously all over India and especially throughout southern India, preaching the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Lord Chaitanya not only preached the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, but propagated the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita as well in the most practical way. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna is depicted as the absolute personality of Godhead. And his last teachings in that great book of transcendental knowledge instruct that one should give up all the modes of religious activities and accept him, Lord Sri Krishna, as the only worshipable Lord. The Lord that then assured that all his devotees would be protected from all sorts of sinful acts, and that for them there would be no cause for anxiety. Unfortunately, despite Lord Sri Krishna direct order and the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, less than people misunderstand him to be nothing but a great you lost me, Prabhu. But a great historical personality, and thus they cannot accept him as the original personality of Godhead. Such men with a poor fund of knowledge are misled by many non-devotees. Thus the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita were misinterpreted even by the great scholars after the disappearance of Lord Sri Krishna. There were hundreds of commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita by many erudite scholars, and almost every one of them was motivated by self-interest. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the self-same Lord Sri Krishna. This time, however, he appeared as a great devotee of the Lord in order to preach to the people in general, as well as to religionists and philosophers about the transcendental positions of Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord and the cause of all causes. The essence of his preaching is that Lord Sri Krishna, who appeared at Vrajabhumi, Vrindavan, as the son of the king of Raja, Nanda Maharaj, is the supreme personality of Godhead and is therefore worshipable by all. Vrindavan Dharma is non-different from the Lord because the name, fame, form, and place where the Lord manifests himself are all identical with the Lord as absolute knowledge. Therefore, Vrindavan Dharma is as worshipable as the Lord. The highest form of transcendental worship of the Lord was exhibited by the damsels of Vrajabhumi in the form of pure affection for the Lord, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends this process as the most excellent mode of worship. He accepts the Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Purana as the spotless literature for understanding the Lord, and he preached the ultimate goal of life for all human beings is to attain the stage of prema or love of God. Many devotees of Lord Chaitanya like Srila Vrindavan Das Thakura, Sri Channa Das Thakura, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, Sri Kavikarana Pura, Sri Prabodhananda Sarasvati, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami, and in this later age, within 200 years, Shri Vishwanatha Chakravarti, Shri Baladeva Vidyabhusana, Shri Mananda Goswami, Shri Narottama Das Thakura, Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakura, and at last Shri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura, our spiritual master, and many other great and renowned scholars and devotees of the Lord have prepared voluminous books and literatures on the life and precepts of the Lord. Such literatures are all based on the Shastras like the Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, Ramayan, Ramayan, Mahabharat, and other histories and authentic literatures approved by the recognized acharyas. They are unique in composition and unrivaled in presentation, and they are full of transcendental knowledge. Unfortunately, the people of the world are still ignorant of them. But what these literatures, which are mostly in Sanskrit and Bengal, come to light the world, and when they are presented before thinking people, then Indians' glory and the message of love will overflood this morbid world, which is vainly searching after peace and prosperity by various illusory methods not approved by the acharyas in the chain of disciplinic succession. The readers of this small description of the life and precepts of Lord Chaitanya will profit much to go through the books of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakura, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. The early life of the Lord is mostly fascinatingly expressed by the author of Chaitanya Bhagavata. And as far as the teachings are concerned, they are more vividly explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now they are available to the English-speaking public in our teachings of Lord Chaitanya. The Lord's early life was recorded by one of his chief devotees and contemporaries, namely Srila Murari Gupta, a medical practitioner of that time, and the later part of the life of Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was recorded by his private secretary, Sri Damodara Goswami or Srila Svarupa Damodara, who was practically a constant companion of the Lord at Puri. These two devotees recorded practically all the incidences of the Lord's activities, and later on all the books dealing with the Lord, which are above mentioned, were composed on the basis of Karchas by Sri Damodara Goswami and Murari Gupta. So the Lord advented himself on the Flaguni Purnima, evening of 1407 Sakabda, and it was by the will of the Lord that there was a lunar eclipse on that evening. During the hours of eclipse, it was the custom of the Hindu public to take bath in the Ganga or any other sacred river and chant the Vedic mantras for purification. When Lord Chaitanya was born during the lunar eclipse, all Indians was roaming with the holy sound of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These 16 names of the Lords are mentioned in many Puranas and Upanishads, and they are described as the Taraka Brahman Nama of this age. It is recommended in the Shastras that offenseless chanting of these holy names of the Lord can deliver a fallen soul from material bondage. There are innumerable names of the Lord both in India and outside, and all of them are equally good because all of them indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhu, did you go to up? Oh, but because these 16th are especially recommended for this age, people should take advantage of them and follow the path of the great acharyas who attained success by practicing the rules of the Shastras revealed scriptures. The simultaneous occurrence of the Lord's appearance and the lunar eclipse indicated the distinctive mission of the Lord This mission was to preach the importance of chanting the holy names of the Lord in the age of Kali, quarrel. In this present age, quarrels take place even over trifles. And therefore, the Shastras have recommended for this age a common platform for realization, namely chanting the holy names of the Lord. People can hold meetings to glorify the Lord in their respective languages and with melodious songs. And if such performances are executed in an offenseless manner, it is certainly that the participants will gradually attain spiritual perfection without having to undergo more rigorous methods. At such meetings, everyone, the learned and the foolish, the rich and the poor, the Hindus and the Muslims, the Englishmen and the Indians and the Chandala and the Brahmanas can all hear the transcendental sounds and first cleanse the dust of material association from the mirror of the heart. To confirm the Lord's mission, all the people of the world will accept the holy name of the Lord as the common platform for the universal religion of mankind. In other words, the advent of the holy name took place along with the advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the Lord was on the lap of his mother, he would at once stop crying as soon as the ladies surrounding him chanted the holy names and clapped their hands. This peculiar incident was observed by the neighbors. Yes, Prabhu, we can go down. Neighbors with aware and veneration. Sometimes the young girls took pleasure in making the Lord cry and then stopping him by chanting the holy name. So from his very childhood, the Lord began to preach the importance of the holy name. In his early age, Lord Sri Chaitanya was known as Nimai. This name was given by his beloved mother because the Lord took his birth beneath a neem tree in the courtyard of his paternal house. Oh, wow. When the Lord was offered solid food at the age of 6 months in the Annaprasana ceremony, the Lord indicated his future activities at this time. It was customary to offer the child both coins and books in order to get some indication of the future tendencies of the child. The Lord was offered one side coins and the other the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The Lord accepted the Bhagavatam instead of the coins. When he was a mere baby crawling in the yard, one day a snake appeared before him, and the Lord began to play with it. All the members of the house were struck with fear and aware, but after a little while, the snake appeared before him, and the Lord began to play with it. All the members of the house were struck with fear and aware, but after a little while, the snake went away, and the baby was taken away by his mother. Once he was stolen by a thief who intended to steal his ornaments, but the Lord took a pleasure trip on the shoulder of the bewildered thief, who was searching for a solitary place in order to rob the baby. It so happened that the thief, wandering Hithla and Thiltha, how do you pronounce it, Prabhu?
Titar.
Hirtar and
Titar.
oh, Hitar and
Titar.
Titar. Okay. Finally arrived just before the house of Jagannath Misra. Oh, and being afraid of being caught, dropped the baby at once. Of course, the anxious parents and relatives were glad to see the lost child. Once a pilgrim Brahmana was received at the house of Jagannath Misra, and when he was offering food to the Godhead, the Lord appeared before him and partook of the prepared food. The eatables had to be rejected because the child touched them. The child touched them. And so the Brahmana had to make another preparation. The next time, the same time happened. And when this happened repeatedly for the third time, the baby was finally put to bed. At about 12 at night, when all the members of the house were fast asleep, within the closed rooms, the pilgrim Brahmana offered his special prepared foods to the deity, and in the same way, the baby Lord appeared before the pilgrim and spoiled his offerings. The Brahmana then began to cry, but since everyone was fast asleep, no one could hear him. At that time, the baby Lord appeared before the fortunate Brahmana and disclosed his identity as Krishna himself. The Brahmana was forbidden to disclose this incidents, and the baby returned to the lap of his mother. There are many similar incidences in his childhood. As a naughty boy, he sometimes used to tease the old dogs, Brahmanas, and who used to bathe, who used to bathe in the Gangas. When the Brahmanas complained to his father that he was splashing them with water instead of attending school, attending school, the Lord suddenly appeared before his father, as though just coming. Oh, Prabhu, I lost the place again.
So please scroll down, please.
Down again, Prabhu. Yes. Just coming, okay, Lord suddenly appeared before his father as though just coming from school with all his school clothes and books. At the bathing ghat, he also used to play jokes on the neighboring girls who engaged in worshipping Shiva in hopes of getting good husbands. This is a common practice amongst unmarried girls in Hindu families. While they were engaged in such worship, the Lord naughtily appeared before them and said, "My dear sisters, please give me all the offerings you have just brought for Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is my devotee, and Parvati is my maidservant. If you worship me, then Lord Shiva and all the other demigods will be more satisfied." Some of them refused to obey the naughty Lord, and he would curse them that due to their refusal, they would be married to old men who had 7 children by the previous wife. Out of fear and sometimes out of love, the girls would also offer him various goods, and then the Lord would bless them as assure them that they would have very good young husbands and that they would be mothers of dozens of children. The blessings would enliven their girls, but they used often to complain of these incidences to their mothers. In this way, the Lord passed his early childhood. When he was just 16 years old, he started his own chatushpati. Is it chatushpati?
Yes, sir.
Chatushpati.
Yes, sir. Chatushpati.
Village school conducted by a learned Brahmana. In this school, he would simply explain Krishna even in readings of grammar. Srila Jiva Goswami, in order to please the Lord, later composed a grammar in Sanskrit in which all the rules of grammar were explained, with examples that used the holy names of the Lord. This grammar is still current. It is known as Hari Namamrita Vyakarana and is prescribed in the syllabus of schools in Bengal. During this time, a great Kashmir scholar named Keshava Kashmir came to Navadip to hold discussions on the Shastras. The Kashmir Pandit was a champion scholar, and he had traveled to all places of learning in India. Finally, he came to Navadip to contest the learned pandits there. The Pandits of Navadip decided to match Nimai Pandit, Lord Chaitanya, with the Kashmir Pandit, thinking that if Nimai Pandit were defeated, they would have another chance to debate with the scholar for Nimai Pandit. Oh, Nimai Pandit was only a boy. Yeah, I think I remember this challenge, Prabhu.
Yes, yes. It's very popular pastime.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
He
Prabhu.
became
And if the Kashmir Pandit were defeated, then they would even be more glorified because people would proclaim that a mere boy of Navadip defeated a champion scholar who was famous throughout India. It so happened that Nimai Pandit met Keshava Kashmir. Is it Kashmir? While
Kashmiri.
Kashmir,
Yes, sir.
while
Yes, sir.
strolling on the banks of the Gangas, the Lord requested him to compose a Sanskrit verse in praise of the Gangas, and the Pandit within a short time composed 100 sloka, reciting the verse like a storm and showing the strength of his vast learning. Nimai Pandit at once memorized all the slokas without an error. Nimai Pandit was Lord Chaitanya, ne Prabhu?
See how capable they were. He
Yes,
composed
Prabhu.
100 slokas
100 slokas, Prabhu. Oh, that's a lot.
in a short time. He composed them.
Yeah, of
Yes,
course, he's the
Prabhu.
Supreme Lord. Yeah, his memory will be eternal.
All the
Nimai Pandit is
slokas without.
another name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes, Prabhu. Before, why, like, was it before initiation?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Like
Okay. But then he also, but
in Navadvip, everyone used to call him Nimai Pandit. Everyone used to call
oh
him.
yes, but
Yes, Prabhu.
already Nimai
After he
is an initiated name, right? It's like it's the same as Krishna's name.
like what, Prabhu?
I was saying like the name Nimai, it's still the same as an initiated name.
Yes,
Actually,
like
Nimai means that actually the Lord was named Nimai because he appeared. He appeared within means below a neem tree. Like,
Oh,
yeah, when he took birth,
in a neem
he took
tree,
birth.
yes.
Yeah, below a
We
neem
actually
tree, and
read
the
it
neem tree
earlier
is
on.
the neem tree is actually still there in Mayapur. Like when I went, I saw that. That
Yes,
below
Oh,
that
yes,
neem
yes,
tree,
Prabhu.
he appeared actually below that neem tree. That's
yeah,
why
and
his
after
name
he
is Nimai.
Oh,
defeated the Keshav Kashmir, his fame shot up like rocket after that.
oh, yes, yes.
It
He
became
was
really
actually in competition with him, ne? Keshava,
yes,
Kashmir.
Prabhu.
Hmm.
All the slokas with her. Okay. Nimai Pandit at once memorized. Yes, you
He
can go to the
was
next page,
seen, it
Prabhu.
was said that he was strolling on the Ganga and then he met the Keshav Kashmir and he asked, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to compose a Sanskrit verse in praise of the Ganga. And he composed 100 verses to show how great he is. See, Chaitanya
Oh,
Mahaprabhu asked
that is
one verse.
Keshava.
Yeah, he asked one verse in praise of the Ganga, and the Pandit within a short time composed 100 verses to him. But
Oh.
then Nimanitana Prabhu, he shows that he's supreme by memorizing every verse, and then he imagine someone recites 100 slokas to you now. You never heard those slokas, and then to show how expert you are, you memorize the 64th sloka. So like this, he showed that he remembered all the slokas that he recited, the 100, and then he shows the
Oh, yes, yes.
64th, and then he points out a mistake in them, and he shows in
Yes,
this
yes.
stream.
Oh, I remember. I think yeah, there was this sloka that they were discussing about, and then Keshava explained it in 9 different ways, and then the Lord was 64, right?
Yes, let's see what happens. I think it comes here.
Oh, all the slokas without an error. Okay, he quoted the 64th slokas and pointed out certainly rhetorical and literary irregularities. He particularly questioned the Pandits' use of the words Bhavani Bartuhu. He pointed out that the use of these two words was redundant. Bhavani means the wife of Shiva, and who else can be her Bharata or husband? He also pointed out several other discrepancies, and the Kashmir Pandit was struck with wonder. He was astonished that a mere student of grammar could point out the literary mistakes of an erudite scholar. Although this matter was ended prior to any public meeting, the news spread like wildfire all over Navadip. But finally, Keshava Kashmir was ordered in a dream by Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to submit to the Lord, and thus the Kashmir Pandit became a follower of the Lord. Yo, imagine.
Yes, Prabhu.
The Lord was, oh, he was even, maybe for sure, he was even a demigod worshipper. Ne?
What, Prabhu?
I was saying Keshava Kashmir he was also a demigod worshipper.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sure, Prabhu,
But
maybe.
he also worshipped Vishnu.
Worship maybe goddess of learning.
Oh
Yes,
yes,
Prabhu.
yes.
I'm not sure.
Isn't the goddess of learning a demigod, Prabhu? Like Saraswati
Saraswati, yes, Prabhu. Devi Saraswati.
is also a demigod, right? Even the god
Yes,
of
Prabhu.
fortune.
the expansion of the Lord's spiritual potency. Radharani.
Mhm.
Oh, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, Prabhu. The Lord was then married with great pomp and gianty. And at this time, he began to preach the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord at Navadip. Some of the Brahmanas became envious of his popularity, and they put many hindrances on his path. They were so jealous that they finally took the matter before the Muslims magistrate at Navadip. Bengal was then governed by Pathans
Pathans,
and the
Pathan.
Pathans. Oh, I'm reading it in an English way.
Yeah,
Oh,
Muslim. There's
Pathans.
another name of Muslims, another way of calling Muslims.
Oh, Pathans. And the governor of the province was Naba Hussein Saha. The Muslim magistrate of Navadip took up the complaints of the Brahmanas seriously, and at first he warned the followers of Nimai Pandit not to chant loudly the name of Hari. How is that possible? But Lord Chaitanya asked his followers to disobey the orders of the Kasi, and they went on with the Sanskrit Sankirtana chanting party as usual. The magistrate then sent constables who interrupted a Sankirtan and broke some of the mridangas drums. When Nimai Pandit heard of these incidences, he organized a party for civil disobedience. He is the pioneer of the civil disobedience movement in India. For the right cause, he organized a procession of 100,000 men with thousands of mridangas and kartals. Oh, kartals and sayambals. And this procession passed over the roads of Navadip in defiance of the Kasi, who issued the order. Finally, the procession reached the house of the Kasi, who went upstairs out of fear of the mercies. The great crowd assembled at the Kasi's house displayed a violent temper, but the Lord asked them to be peaceful at this time. The Kasi came down and tried to pacify the Lord as his nephew. He pointed out that Nilambara Chakravarti referred to him as an uncle, and consequently, Srimati Sachi Devi, the mother of Nimai Pandit, was his sister. He asked the Lord whether his sister's son could be angry at his maternal uncle, and the Lord replied that since the Kasi was his maternal uncle, he should receive his nephew well at his home. In this way, the issue was mitigated, and the two learned scholars began a long discussions on the Quran and Hindus. Yeah, Prabhu, another person can read. I can see my eyes on the phone.
You will. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, who wants to continue? Oh, what is the time actually? Yeah, it's 9
It's-
already.
It's half past.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Prabhu. Let's see
How many pages left? How many pages left? Yes, sir.
let's see
1,
how
2, 3, 4, 5.
let's count again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, so more. 13, 14, 15. Yeah,
27,
it's very
Prabhu.
long. Very long, very long,
27
very long.
pages left.
Yes, bro. The introduction is very long, actually. I think. Even
Prabhu.
when we
Nice.
start the verses, the purport of each verse is like 2 pages or 3 pages. Very, very long.
So what happened? What do we remember? What did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do?
Last he did was, yeah, he was having a discussion with the Qazi on the
Yeah,
Quran
he
and
challenged Kasi and then he
Shastras.
went over him.
Yes,
Mhm.
Prabhu.
That was, yes, bro.
And then he was stolen by the thief.
Oh,
And then
yes.
he ended up in the temple.
Yeah, that was his childhood pastimes. His childhood pastimes. His pastime as a young boy. Then he defeated Keshav Kashmiri, and then
And
we have this pastime of
Oh,
the Chand
yeah.
Qazi disturbing the Sankirtan activities.
And there was the Brahmana who offered the food, and
Yeah,
Chaitanya
yeah. That comes in the childhood pastimes. I have compiled it as one childhood pastimes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
Yes,
do you remember the snake when he was playing with the snake when he was
Oh.
young?
yes, Prabhu.
And then he used
The
to cheese
snake.
the girls
The picture
for
is there,
praying to
Prabhu. You
Shiva,
can see
asking for
the
the
pictures.
offerings.
The picture is there. Yeah. See, the pictures are there. We are playing with the snake. Yes, here. He
Now
is
we are
Chankazi. Yeah,
yes.
And
Chankazi.
then he appeared in below the
Six
neem
consonants.
tree.
Yeah, the Jagai Madhai. Jagai Madhai is yet to cover. That is also very famous pastime.
Yes,
Jagai
Prabhu.
Madhai. Deliverance of Jagai Madhai.
Okay, Haribol. Now we go to six Astakam prayers.
Six has to come from the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
I'm the only one who read today.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you
Yes,
for
Prabhu.
it.
Thank you, Prabhu, for reading.
Haribo.
Prabhu, should I read?
Yes, Prabhu. Anyone can start.
चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादवात्म निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावादुजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णमृतास्वादनं सर्वात्म स्नापनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
Namnamakariva Huda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpidanyamita Smaranena Kalaha Eta Trishitava Kripan Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Metrishamihai Jinanurakraha Taro Api Saheshnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Hari
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवदद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
Ainandatanujakin karam patitamam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tvavapada pankaja stitaduli satrisham vichintaya.
नयनं
नयनं
गलदाशु Yes,
गलदश्रुधारया
Prabhu, yes, Prabhu.
वदनं गदरुद्धया गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगयितं निमिषेण चक्षुषे प्रविश्यतां शृणयतां जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे
Asisleva padaratam pinastuma madarshanam marmam hatam karotu va yata tata va vidatulan pato matprananatastu sa evanarpanaha.
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting the holy names. But I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
Uh, one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I
O
desire
Almighty
beautiful
Lord, I
women,
have no desire.
nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
Go.
Prabhu, you read.
Are we at
Yes.
this one? Right?
Yeah, I think Prabhu, the previous one was not read.
Oh, this one. Oh, son of
Yes,
Maharaj,
Prabhu.
I am your
Yes,
eternal
Prabhu.
spirit. Some or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of a name?
Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally.
Hari Bol, Shri Siksastakam ki jai.
Jai.
Bhujanma Yadi Shravana Kirtan Tabutanam Paya Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses to the holy name are as follows. First one, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
To consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal or independent of the names of the Lord Vishnu.
To disobey the orders of the spiritual master is what ISKCON does.
To blaspheme the Vedic scripture, Vedic literature, or literature in persons of the Vedic version.
To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. To give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord.
To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the special ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda.
To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Vanchakalpatarupishya kripa sindhu bhaiva
Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva vacha kripapratinam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
And the Gaudiya Vaishnava ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Bol.
Amit Prabhu, long time no see.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
Amit.
Prabhu, actually, I was doing, I don't know, like, I'm actually in summer course, I'm doing 2, 3 courses, and one internship I joined, I thought it won't take much time, but they are like, you come from 10 to 4, and so I got very puzzled, I'm not getting time. So, but now I have to, whatever
Oh,
I will do, like, 1 hour I can take out, whatever in the evening. But on one thing I noticed that my anxiety and like pressure also increased because of that lab course. It took off 6 hours, and another 5, 6 hours, like 1, 2 hours I wasted actually. And 3, 4 I
oh,
studied, but it was not that efficient. so I can take out time easily. Like this thing I have to do. Like whatever happened, like our spiritual thing, we should not stop anytime.
Yes, Prabhu, for
And
sure.
Yes, bro.
yes,
true.
Prabhu. And one thing,
Prabhu,
one like I watched one short today of Srila Prabhupada. Like I got little confused. So actually, like can I ask
It
that?
is, Prabhu, it is like which channel?